housing and a quality, affordable healthcare. A new report by Transparency International Kenya is now revealing how infrastructure projects are milking Kenyans dry. Projects that are putting hundreds of billions of shillings at risk of being siphoned through corrupt dealings. And as Bentura Kwamboka reports, if corruption vulnerability is to be graded, the SGR project would score 4 out of 5 as a highly volatile project with the potential to be siphoned, with Kiambu and Vihiga housing projects trailing closely at 3 out of 5 as projects likely to be involved in corruption.
Thank you so much.
Imagine this. How much can 600 billion shillings do? Probably finance the entire education sector, or build hundreds of schools, or employ more teachers, or better still, equip our hospitals with better infrastructure. That's the much Kenya loses in mismanaged funds through corruption, poor implementation of relevant legislative frameworks emanating from stalled and mismanaged public infrastructure projects. And every Kenyan pays taxes for one promise: a better road, a better hospital, quality education, and basic access to daily needs, like through access to not just water, but clean water. But that promise is being stolen away before a break is laid or ground breaks in Kenya's mega infrastructure projects.
So the reason we are so pesky and keep asking these questions about the use of money, where this money is coming from, how these projects are going to be paid for, and who is receiving this money, is because it comes back to us as citizens. Those decisions come back to us as citizens. We're going to pay back that money.
A new corruption risk assessment by Transparency International Kenya, conducted between September 2025 to March 2026, reveals red flags including secretive contracts on key flagship projects, including the standard meter gauge railway and affordable housing that kills oversight role, leaving Kenyans with a burden of debt repayment.
A feasibility study that was conducted by the World Bank before the SGR project even commenced, and with that feasibility study, it highlighted that Kenya was not yet ready to have this kind of development. We had another feasibility study that was presented to the former regime, and with that second feasibility study, it showed that as a country we were ready, we were good to go. So the evaluation, there was very low level of scrutiny.
Can we get full details of the contract awards? We know that many of them are being developed using money that has been borrowed.
Vihiga Affordable Housing Project and Kiambu Civil Servant Housing Scheme have also been put in the spotlight on corruption vulnerability over absence of critical project documentation and a lack of transparency over money allocated versus the amount of money spent.
Housing civil servant scheme, then we are looking at it as having a moderate risk when it comes to the corruption risk assessment. Concerns that continue to be raised around how these houses are then allocated to Kenyans. The Vihiga Affordable Housing Project is situated in the rural setup, where you find that most of the people actually own their own homes. So the question on exactly who is going to be able then to use those particular housing structures that have been constructed was also coming up as another pressing issue.
With an estimated loss of a third of infrastructure funds lost within the projects that hinders the promise of value for money, opaque procurement processes, and missing of critical documents to the public, leaves many with a question of who are Kenyans really building for? Bentura Kwamboka, KTN.